Start in the name of Allah, who is merciful and most beneficent. Dear students, today we are going to discuss themes of A Passage to India by E.m.Forster. So, this is a very important novel in the history of English literature as well as in the history of subcontinent, because this novel is being written on the you can say the very important aspect of Pak-Indo relationship as well as there, and the things being discussed here that were the very common in that age, and they are the very reluctant and very important things to be discussed in this novel. So first of all, we'll discuss the difficulty of English-Indian friendship. In this novel, E.m.Forster discussed about the difficulty of English-Indian friendship. As you know, if you are familiar with the history of subcontinent, you know there were the three sorts of nations were there: Muslims, Hindu, and English were there. These were the prominent, and the three prominent nations were there. And in this struggle and in this era, there were a lot of difficulties. So one of them was the difficulty of English-Indian friendship. A Passage to India begins and ends by posing the question of whether it is possible for an Englishman and an Indian to ever be friends, at least with the as context of British colonialism. Forster uses the question of framework to explore the general issue of British political control of India on a more personal level. Yes, as you know that Indian were there and the British were there. There were a lot of differences were there. Society difference was first of all there, and their living style was there, and the most important thing was the language. Language was the main aspect, and the difficulty was same there. So on the other hand, they were liking, British were liking the Indians in every aspect. They think that Indian are loyals. On the other hand, Pakistanis or something like that, Muslim were not loyal in that era. So in this novel, E.m.Forster has traced out the things, that how the things were there. And the first thing was there, the difficulty of English-Indian friendship, because British were totally relied there, and they were thinking that Indians are the thing that can help them. But on the other hand, Indians were thinking that they are everything and they can do everything, as in the political era, as it is being here in Pakistan from last 2 to 3 days. You can observe that how the things are going. So the same thing was there. British were thinking something else. On the other hand, Indians were thinking something else, but the things were going in another direction. So in this novel, Forster uses this question, as well as at the beginning of the novel, Aziz is scornful of the English, wishing only to consider them comically or ignore them completely. Yet the intuitive connection Aziz feels Mrs. Moore in the mosque open him to possibility of friendship with Fielding. Yes, there are a lot of characters we'll discuss later, but the important characters, Moore is there, Mr. Aziz is there, and other characters are also there. So there is a fundamental relationship between them. So this was the very first theme of the novel, and the second one is unity of all things. Unity of all living thing. Through the main characters of A Passage to India are generally Christian or Muslim. Hinduism also plays a large thematic role in the novel. Yes, three basic things are being discussed: Christian, Muslim, and Hinduism. So in this novel, the aspects of Hinduism with which Forster is particularly concerned is the religious ideals of all living, from the loveliest to highest, united in love as one. The vision of the universe appears to offer redemption to India through mysticism, as individual differences disappear into a peaceful collective that doesn't recognize hierarchies. So, through Mrs. Moore, Forster also shows that the vision of the oneness of all living things cannot be terrifying. Yes, unity of all living thing, as he is being stated that three nations were there, three main aspects were there: Hinduism, Muslim and Christianity. Is it possible that in that critical situation all can live easily? No. On the other hand, they all were demanding for separate homeland. So this was the very important thing. E.m.Forster basically traced out the elements within the character. So the third one is the model of India. So here this is very important thing, that a confused multitude of things, because Indians were, as in the history, Indians were very clever, Indians were very hypocritic, and they were muddles with the thing. So muddling is the thing, a confused multitude of things. They were not on one behalf, they were changing their statement with the passage of time. So that was the very important aspect of this novel. Forster takes a great care to strike a distinction between ideas of muddle and mystery. In A Passage to India, muddle has connotations of dangerous and disgusting discovered, whereas mystery suggests a mystical order planes by a spiritual force. This is a great that man. Fielding, who acts a Forster primary mouthpiece in the novel, admits that India is a muddle, while figures such as Mrs. Moore and a good ball view Indian as a mystery. As it is in the this is the part of history, and this is rest of the history, that Indians are always, you can say, they are hypocritic. They are not going to stand on one thing. So same is the thing there, as the Muslim, Christianity and Hindu were there. They were changing their statement. They were very hypocritic. They were going with the thing as in the confusing level. They were conjecturing the thing, they were intermingling the thing. But on the other hand, they were only supposed to take some advantages from Muslim as well as Christian as well as Britain. They were just for the sake of their own advantage. They were not thinking for the rest of the nations. As you know, in the history, when India was there and British were there, colonialism was also there. But the thing, a lot of benefits were, you can say, took by Indians. On the other hand, Pakistanis or Muslim were not being facilitated as well. They were, Hindus were facilitated as in the history. You know, on the very high posts, you can say the Indians were there or the Hindus were there. Before, you can say, the independence or after independence, same was the thing there. As British gone from there, but the things, the impacts were there of the Indians. So the last one is the negligence of British colonial government. Yes, British colonial government. This is very important aspect. As you know, authority is something. Authority is power. Power is power. As we are saying, knowledge is power. But on the other hand, the thing is, power is power. And power is the, you can say, final authority. No one can challenge the power. Even you are a PhD doctor, even you are a philosopher, etc., etc. But the power is power. If you are going to use authority, no one can challenge you if you are in authority. So this is very important aspect, as the British government was there. And the negligence of British colonial government through A Passage to India is in many ways a highly symbolic or even a mystical text. It is also claims to be a realistic documentation for the attitude of British colonial officials in India. Forster spent last section of the novel criticizing different typical attitudes the English hold towards the Indian home they control. Forster's style is the most harsh toward English women, whom the author depicts overwhelming, racist, self-righteous, and the visually to the native population. Some of the English men in the novel are as nasty as the women, but Forster more often identifies Englishmen as men who, through conditioning, the unable relate to the Indians as individual level. Yes, this is very important one. As the British were in the power, they were, you can say, using the authority, and they were going to avail the power, avail the authorities, and they were using their power. As well as male are concerned, as well as female are concerned, they were just going for the advantages. As well as in which term you can say, if the beauty is there, they are saying that this one is for us, this is the final one, no one is going to challenge them. As well as female are concerned, they were using the same thing for them, and Indians were also with them, and they were going for the advantages. But on the other hand, Muslims were being ignored altogether. This is the history, and this is very important novel in which E.m. Forster has traces out the things as the things were before independence, as the things were after independence. This is very important novel. I am recommending you have to read the text. Hopefully, inshallah, we'll discuss the further things later. Thank you.